Let's look at decorative book designs for things that are on the edges of a book. And I'm excited to show you this because this is something that is accessible to everyday authors, not only from a budget perspective, but from the printing requirements that these have. Now, you have a couple different kinds of ways that if people are creating a special edition book that has decorative page edges, and one way is to have specialized printing equipment that actually prints on the outer edges of the book once the pages are all bound together. But in this case, this type of a book is actually a design that's printed. This is my example book. This is printed on the inside of the book page, and then the design shows to the outside. If you look at this really closely, you can see that the inner edges are a little more vibrant than the outer edges, so the design is a little more muted, but it still comes out as a really pretty effect. And this can be done at most printers like KDP, like Ingram Spark, and several others. So let's look at this particular site at PrintedEdges.com. And they've just come out with this new tool. So if this looks different whenever you get here, it's just been updates made to the site here, but this should still be pretty consistently the same. So I'm going to click the Start Designing at the top, and I'm going to give my project the name right here. Now, before we go any farther, I'm going to show you here at the very bottom edge of the right side of the pane. When you hover over these buttons, it will pop out what the options are. So I'm going to stop this from rotating. Now it should stay in one place-ish wherever I put it. And I'm also going to stop it bouncing. So if you want it to be a little more solid and not bouncing around, you can go ahead and do that. Again, it's those on the right side toward the bottom. It'll still move a little bit, but not as much. You have three options that you can choose from here on the left side where it talks about project type. I'm going to click on this free one here because this is actually something that if you're going to use these inside the Vellum book formatting software, PrintedEdges lets you have completely free solid edge designs. They have gradients also in the works, I believe. Those aren't out yet at the time I'm recording this. But you can choose color edges and take them into Vellum. And this is just a pure basic 2-page design, one for the left side of the page, one for the right side of the page, and the same color is printed throughout the whole book. It's really simple. It's easy to import into Vellum from their backgrounds and page borders section. For the other two options, you either have another template that is also meant just for Vellum, so you can tell it however many pages you have, and you can tell it the trim size, and it will set the book up for you, both the 3D preview and the image edges that I'll show you here in just a minute. If you're working with a final PDF, this is where you upload here, and it's going to auto detect how many pages you have and what your book size is. So those will show up down here, and then you'll choose what you want from there. I'm going to create a template. I'm going to set 550 pages, and I'm going to set 5.5 by 8.5. Now this says both popular and large print because inside Vellum, these are the sizes that they have for large print. So that's just an indicator to you that that's available. This doesn't mean that this has to be large print when I do this. But now with my page count and my trim size, I'm going to set the template, and you can also see the 3D book on the right update with the thickness of the book that I've set. And there we go. This is a chonker. And I'm going to show you the custom edges option. When you turn on custom edges, this gives you the guidelines for the images that you have to go make inside another program and then bring them back here to apply them to your pages or to the template. So you can either click to download the templates, this one for the top and the bottom edges, which will be slightly shorter, and then of course the side template that's taller. When you look at the edges down below, you can also see that they have the option for a right edge and a left edge. This means that if you're flipping through the book from the front to the back, you could have one design. And then if you flip from the back to the front, or fan the pages out slightly, I guess, then you could have a different design. If you want the sharpest design when the book is closed, it works best to have the same image both ways, and that way there's less shifting of the design and there aren't two things competing with each other. If that's not your plan and you think people would display the book with the spine outward, but you want the novelty of double designs, that's where you would do that, right edge and left edge. I'm going to upload the same file both places. So there's my side file, and again, my side file. For the top and bottom, I also have those sized. There's my top. And that's not quite right. That's not the direction I wanted that. So I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. This makes that the direction that I wanted that to show up. And there could be some conflict on the edges, so watch out for those. And a lot of times, whether you're doing an image that is this style printed along with the book text, or whether it's printed on the outside afterwards, it's good to have something that's not a hard design because they're really hard to line up at the corners, whichever way you go. I'll add this to the bottom side also, and now we have the design on all 3 edges. One thing I will do when I redo this design is I will pick something that's a lot simpler for the top and the bottom edge. I may even keep these just a solid color to match whatever is the background on the side, because there's more shift with these images than with the other ones. So here is my printed proof copy of this. And you can see that the design on the left side has this kind of bronzy color that it turned out really nice, even though you can see when the pages are fanned open that it's really just shades of yellow. They look really good together when they're on here. But on the top and bottom edges, you can see that the designs shift a little bit more this direction when they're printed off. Now, this is a test through KDP. I don't know if other platforms are better or worse than others for this, but with KDP and Ingram Spark, things are pretty consistent on this front edge. I will have to say, though, as a caution, this right side is pretty representative for the shifting that can occur. And this is still within KDP's margin of tolerance because they allow an 1/8 of an inch, about 3 millimeters of shifting inside the book and on the cover. If something goes wrong and there's a bigger misalignment on all of the edges, this is something that the print companies reserve the right not to reprint for you. If it increases your sales to have a beautiful edition like this, and there are some books that you have to replace out of your own pocket, it's just something to consider, just so you know that that's their policy. If you want a full-blown mock-up of your entire book with your edges, then you can come over to the right side and check out the options. You can change back and forth between hardcover and paperback, which is super cool. And you can upload your cover designs. So this calls for the front as one piece, the spine as another, and the back as a third piece. I took my cover PDF and I took screenshots of the different pieces. So I'll upload the front, the spine, and the back of this. If anything ends up funny and you need to rotate things, then it'll give you those rotation options. So when you click done, now I can show off the whole effect of this. In addition to now being able to add the cover, you can also change from a matte to a glossy if you need to be able to catch that. And the side edges option will display different designs if you have one design going each direction on the different edges, so it'll flip back and forth between those. The book stack will show you what several of them will look like all together. That's kind of fun. You can go full screen. Let me take that back off of book stack, and my book is matte. So for any of these, if you need mock-ups, you can come over here and you can take a screenshot. That will go immediately to my downloads. And now I've got a pretty book to share different places. You can try different views of it, obviously, and click the screenshot button again. Or you can turn on the video option and it will just record a little loopy video for you to use. Of course, the GIF option will let you have a smaller sized item to be able to show different places. And beauty shots will automatically take, I think, 8 pictures in a row of different views of the book for you. Once you are finished with your design, then you come to the bottom of the left edge and it asks you if you've selected everything that you need for the project. That way you don't have to come back or replace anything later on. And it will ask you to confirm that you've checked and rotated everything just to make sure it looks right. Once you do that, you can click the option that says Generate Final Proof and then just follow the prompts to complete your purchase for the PDF. I won't do this because with 500 pages, it does take quite a while. It's probably 2 to 3 minutes long to take these images and splice them together and put them on all of the pages. So trust the process, let it do its thing, And really, for $20, that's US dollars, this is really reasonable for being able to put out really pretty editions, although color options are a lot more reasonable when they're not 500 plus pages. Because even with just a paperback, if I list this for $20, I make about $1.50 off of it, maybe. There are some amazing black and white or grayscale designs out there too, so don't rule that out if you need to keep your prices low, but it's really hard to beat a gorgeous color edition. If you try this, I would love to have you tag me. I just think show and tell for these is so pretty. So go order your proof copy and tell me how it turns out. I can't wait to see. Happy publishing. I'll catch you again soon.